Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's do this thing.
All right. Welcome back to Looking Forward, Season 2.
Woo! I've gotten a lot of feedback about our woos, and people miss them.
They're back. We're going to have even more to woo about this season.
I'm Jen, and this is Alejandro.
You're seeing our faces this season. That's the first change.
Yeah.
So it's been a minute.
It has.
It has.
Yes.
It's February now.
Is it?
Yeah. Since we wrapped up the last season in December.
Yeah, I think a lot of experts agree this is one of the longest Januaries we've ever had.
I would agree with that too, yeah.
Some attribute the length of January to the lack of looking forward.
Well, I know that it's really been on people's minds. We've had a lot of requests to get back to the mic, so here we are. So we definitely learned a lot from season 1. We did a lot of trial and error, and we learned so much about both what our listeners want to hear and also what we think resonates well and worked well for us in different organizations in different roles who have either explored AI for themselves or understand its potential value. And I hope that through these conversations, we can allow some folks to understand the potential that might exist for them in their role or for their teams. Ideally, would love for people to, come out of listening to each episode with a sort of aha moment or something that they feel like they can take away and implement for themselves. So excited for that.
Very exciting.
So before we get into all that and have our first guest on the pod, I thought it would be good for us to just connect a little bit and talk about what we've been up to because there's some relevance there.
I think we need to catch up in terms of the listeners. I think we need to catch them up to like what we've been up to. Now, I've been running, something I've started doing during this break is running. The weather was really nice in South Florida. It's the best time of the year in South Florida. And I'm sorry for our listeners in the north. And you know who you are. But it's been 70 and sunny in Miami most days. So great time to be outside. And then, we've been continuing to evolve in terms of, Sandy and continue to iterate on that product and that solution. We launched SunnySide. I think that's kind of a big thing, right? It's our AI agent discovery and validation platform where we're trying to bridge the gap between agentic AI creators and agentic AI users to accelerate adoption by helping folks navigate the agentic AI market and be confident about the decisions they're making in the space and helping them try AI agents for the first time or try the right AI agent for the first time. It's been fascinating building this platform, learning about the market and everything that's been going on in the space. Obviously, there's like a launch every week when it comes to AI, and AI agents are very much a big part of that cycle. So a lot to talk about.
So, okay, let's jump into agentic AI and what we're defining it as, because there might be some folks who have different views on what that means.
So when it comes to agentic AI, we've published a seminal blog post on the SunnySide.bot, and that's right, that is SunnySide.bot. That's the URL, so make sure you type that in right now and check it out. Let us know what you think. It's a work in progress. We're building it as we go. We're building it live. So we'd love any feedback, constructive feedback, negative feedback, even if some offensive feedback, we would take it and run with it. And so in order to be able to create that platform, it required us to make, have a definition of what is an agentic AI solution and what is not, so that we can know where we draw the line. And so in doing that exploration and that discovery, we came up with a hopefully straightforward definition that's based on a few key characteristics that an agentic AI solution needs to have. And those are the access to tools that the agent has in order to be able to perform tasks, right? And not just respond to prompts and have a conversation with the user, but perform tasks on behalf of the user. So you need tools. Constraints, right? We need limitations. No one can be effective without understanding where the lines are. So we need to have constraints for these agents. We need autonomy, right? The ability to make some decisions of a certain order of magnitude on their own And finally, context, right? Agentic AI needs to have appropriate context. In our definition, without context, it's not agentic AI, it's something else. So just to sum it up really quickly, we're talking about AI models that have access to tools and are able to perform tasks on those tools. They have constraints, so they understand their limitations. They have autonomy, so they can make decisions of an order of magnitude that have impact and can lead to output for the organization. And then, context, the ability to understand what's going on in the business, what's going on in that particular function of the business, what in terms of what are the goals that are trying to be achieved, all these very important context so that it can have a level of autonomy that is meaningful for the user.
Yeah, I think the context one is a big part of, why SunnySide now exists, and what led us to build SunnySide is because a lot of people understand agentic AI as like this broader, tool that can do anything. But for a lot of folks, they maybe needed to do something specific to their role or the industry that they work in. And so we were starting to explore what types of agents exist to fulfill more particular use cases. And that can be hard to find. So SunnySide allows for users to really find an agent that complements the specific tasks that they need done, like whether it's a real estate agent, helping with listings, or scheduling phone calls specific to, their role as an agent, versus, someone who maybe works in marketing and they probably have a different set of skills. So using some of these like bigger companies we're seeing come out with agents like ChatGPT or Copilot that are claiming to do it all, but for many users, that might not be the best solution for them. What do you think?
Well, it depends. I mean, when you can use, let's say, for instance, within the Microsoft Office stack, you can use a Copilot Studio to build agents that can okay, so we look at our definition and we say, does this match our definition? The Copilot Studio agents have access to tools within the Microsoft ecosystem, not just the Microsoft Office tools, but they can connect to any other tool that the Microsoft stack connects to, which is pretty broad.
Yeah.
And they have constraints because they're within the Microsoft ecosystem, which is obviously one of the large technology providers that we all trust in terms of the constraints they put on their technology to protect for things like intellectual property and so on and so forth. So, and we can go down the list. I think, you can build an agent within a Copilot Studio. However, it's part of the Microsoft infrastructure and it's locked into the Microsoft infrastructure. So although there are some companies that are heavily knowledge worker organizations, which means that most people in the companies are using Microsoft Office products to do their day-to-day work, there are a lot of organizations where that's a small minority of the organization, and then you have folks using all kinds of other tools most of the time. And then obviously, if it's a sales organization, then you're talking about Salesforce, right? Or HubSpot, if that's the platform that they're using, or some other CRM. So we're talking CRM, right? As opposed to productivity suite, like Google Workspace or Microsoft. And what we've come to find is that there seems to be an acceleration of progress in the use cases for agentic AI that are very specific, right? And you can see that on SunnySide. Like some of the agents that we feature there that are the most reliable at this point are actually development agents, like software development in that very specific use case. I think that there's a place for enterprise knowledge workers to leverage and create their own custom agents to solve for some of their corporate knowledge work, right? Like I need to put together reports and I need to put together presentations and I need to do these types of things where I'm using PowerPoint, where I'm using Excel, where I'm using Google Sheets,
Time saving.
These, right, the enterprise tools of productivity. And I'm building agents to leverage those enterprise tools of productivity to make me more productive. But there are also agents like the development agents, Replit, and so on. And in those cases, they're very unique use cases. And that's for specific roles within organizations. So now it's like, a software developer can use an agent for software development in particular. And it's built in their environment. So, Cursor, or even now they just released the VS Code agent Copilot with actions, or agentic Copilot, which is the same thing, different words, within the context of the developer in their environment, in their development environment. without requiring the developers to have to change the way they work too much. I mean, they do have to change the way they work, but not where they work and kind of the tools that they're using to work. So it's a much more natural for them to be able to give the instructions to the Agentic AI to deliver what they need to get, and minimizes the room for error and mistakes.
And that's also happening. The learning curve too, or like what needs to change for them, right? Because they're probably more likely to adopt it and use it if it's less of a lift for them to figure out how.
Exactly.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, so let's talk a little bit how Agentic AI is fitting into our work as consultants and as a consulting firm. Do you think or is there any examples you can maybe think of about how consulting is evolving and what we're seeing because of tools like this?
Yeah, I mean, that's funny. Actually, last night I was having dinner with a good friend of mine, and we were talking about legacy, like third-party technology vendors or solutions. Yeah. Well, a lot of those third parties are falling behind, and a lot of those models are now outdated. And a lot of the capabilities that you're acquiring through these third parties, you can solve for it within if you're an enterprise, within your enterprise stack. If you're a small organization, you can just build things from scratch. Essentially, web applications is actually what I would love to talk to small and medium-sized businesses about, building custom web applications using Agentic AI, or using, consultants using Agentic AI, because the value is dramatic, right? We're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars in contracts that are being paid, sometimes millions of dollars a year, for a solution that nowadays, using Agentic AI for development, you can have a good developer, good team put together that solution in a matter of weeks at a fraction of the cost, and that now can be owned by the client, or it can be implemented within one of the, like we just described, you can build agents now in Microsoft Copilot, you can build agents with Agentforce within Salesforce, right? It's everywhere from enterprise down. If you are currently paying for some sort of data marketing, sales, or pretty much, and I think that the Google said it, like they said, they think SaaS is pretty much on the way out, because
it's crazy to think about, but there's just so much more freedom in having the control yourself in-house. There's a whole layer of complexity outside of just the technology being complex, in the relationship management and the speed at which you can adjust and change things as needed internally yourself versus needing to work with that vendor is huge.
Huge.
Customer service. It's funny because a lot of Agentic AI, the fear is that, it's replacing humans and there's that less human element. But I think for SaaS companies to survive, they're going to need to increase that customer service element, because that's really one of the key advantages they'll have in keeping a lot of, I think, their third-party relationships.
I mean, look, if I were a SaaS company right now, I would be betting on customization. Hardcore customization. Like, you already have that relationship with that client, with that customer. You already know what they want, what they don't want, what they like, what they don't like. Don't wait, right? Just
make it happen.
Ahead. Yeah, leverage Agentic AI IDE and give them exactly what they want and what they need, so that it's a better deal than, kind of what they would get. So if you are an organization out there, and you look at your vendor portfolio, current state, and you can pinpoint some of the vendors that have not been delivering in terms of the evolution and innovation, there is hope. You can get out of those situations right now. Now is the time to look at what is it that you're actually getting, what is the requirement, what is it that you need to get out of that process, and how can you use Agentic AI or AI, to be able to get that without the cost of having to pay a third party in perpetuity.
Yeah, for sure. And like we talked about back in season 1, it's not too late. You can start right now, but it's worth, and it might seem daunting to go through that process, but the gains will be far worth it. Very cool. Awesome. Well, that was the questions I wanted to kind of cover and discuss around Agentic AI. Hope everyone will check out SunnySide. Also, if there are any developers or creators of AI agents listening, we absolutely want your agents on the site. The more we can feature and share, the better. So if you're listening and you built a cool agent, we would love to feature it on SunnySide.
That's right.
Making the pie bigger.
So this is season 2.
Uh-huh.
What's new? What's different?
Yeah, I mean, I hope that it remains educational, one of our main goals in the first season, but in a way that's maybe a little bit more relatable and even maybe a little less technical and more just actionable for people, so that it's more about understanding the value that AI and agentic AI solutions in particular can provide. I just hope it kind of closes the gap between those who are still curious and not yet exploring it for themselves, or maybe they are, but they feel like they could be doing it differently or more effectively. I hope that this helps folks understand the real potential, ultimately make their life a little bit easier from something that they learn. So that's why I'm excited to have guests join us to open people's eyes to the potential and what's out there. And I think the more knowledge sharing we can do, I hope that it enables more and more people. So I hope this is just a place for people to come and learn a little something, but also, yeah, just have more authentic conversation. That's my favorite part about listening to podcasts.
The authentic part?
How about you? Anything you're hoping for season 2?
More followers.
Yes, please.
So we're aligned on that for sure. Bringing on
more
will be cool. Having our consultants from our 10% consulting team as well on here. More, I think, is good. We saw that in the performance data from 1. So we got to double down on that. This whole video thing, like if you're listening to this right now and you're not watching us on YouTube, you're missing out.
This was a scary part for me. In season 1, I did not want to do the video piece because I was still very camera shy.
Yeah. Also, I think like you realize just how many people are actually watching. Right? Remember, we said we were going to be authentic?
It's very true. Yeah.
My goal is that we get one episode that is listened and watched by at least 100 people.
Okay, that's a good goal. Let's make that happen.
Yeah. So if you're listening or watching and you have friends and family that could be listening or watching, you can make a difference. Help looking forward. Keep looking forward. Invite your friends and family to listen and watch.
And you know what? Also, one of my goals, I would love to do like a giveaway or something fun. So maybe if we can get to 100 listeners, we could do a giveaway.
But 100 listeners, we've had way more than 100 listeners.
Yes, we have. Yeah, I'm excited for this season. I think it'll be great. And honestly, we might not have a ton of followers, but we did have several people reach out asking when season 2 was going to launch. So here you go.
Yeah. No, for sure. The audience that we have is very valuable, and we appreciate you, each and every one of you. And a lot of you, we are having conversations about projects for SunnySide, or not, which you might be an agentic AI solution for SunnySide. You might be a client or a potential client for consulting work. And we are in conversations, and we're talking about the things we're talking about in the podcast. So thank you very much for keeping the conversation alive with us throughout season 1, and we can looking forward with you in 2025.
Any parting thoughts for our audience?
Parting thoughts? Yeah. I'm still waiting for AI to help me not forget where I put my one-wheel charger. Okay?
Isn't that a geotag solution?
Please let it. Wait.
How often are you at the Apple Store and you didn't think of that one? Okay, Alejandro's got to go. He's going to the new Apple Store in Brickell.
I'm going to the new Apple Store in downtown. It looks beautiful. It's carbon neutral.
That's really cool.
It's in a place where you're supposed to have a tall, like, office building in terms of the location, but they decided to take that land and just make the Apple Store. And then they built a park around the Apple Store, and there's a park on the roof of the Apple Store. So one thing that I think is exciting about that particular design is over time, as the plants grow, the building is going to change kind of the way it looks and feels with the plants, and that's always one of my favorite things to see in architecture when it's that's blended in with nature. And so I'm actually going to go this weekend and I'm going to check it out.
Awesome. Well, let me know what you think. Okay. Well, on that note, thank you everyone for listening. We appreciate you. We're excited for season 2, and we'll have a guest on next time. So stay tuned.
Hi, Happy New Year.
Until next time.
And until next time,
keep looking forward.